Hello everyone, Tim Sylvie here. Now, before we introduce today's guest, I need to head over to Essex where I find my trusted colleague in a new part of the house. He's out of the cupboard and appears to be in a very professional looking setup. And if you're watching this on YouTube, he's actually in a studio by the look of it. Harry Benjamin, how are you?
Yeah, do not be fooled. The powers of a green screen, but I have moved out of my little cupboard that I've been recording in since lockdown began. So it's nice to actually have a bit of daylight on my face for a change and not be cramped into a tiny, what was a suitcase cupboard. Yeah, nice to be out of the cupboard and still in your shed, I see.
I'm still in the shed, but I
Yeah.
intend to get a fancy green screen like you so I can put myself in the studio because
They're all the rage these days.
Adequate now. Anyway, shall I introduce today's guest?
Oh, I think so.
So we continue to bring you the biggest names in motorsport, and today is no exception. Jean-Eric Vergne is a back-to-back FormulaE champion, having won Season 4 and Season 5. His rise to motorsport fame came after learning his craft since the tender age of 4, before going on to race in single-seaters when Red Bull snapped him up on their junior team. He's raced in British F3, Formula Renault 3.5, WEC, among others, and of course, Formula One. He's now involved with our friends over at Veloce Esports and Veloce Racing, heavily involved with their ExtremeE entry. We're delighted to have him here. Jean-Eric Vergne, welcome to the MotorMouth podcast.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Cheers for joining us, Jev. Round of applause for you. So how's, we start with all our guests. How's the last sort of year been for you on a personal level, with lockdown and COVID and everything going on, that mad last 4 races of the Formula E season? Is it all a bit of a blur?
Yeah, it's a bit of a blur. And to be honest, it's a year I will try not to remember. Be locked up in a house for a very long time, not being able to race, and then having all those 6 remaining races in Berlin all in one go in this bubble. It was definitely not the best year, that's for sure. I can't wait for this to be over. I heard some good news in the UK that apparently vaccine is coming. So I think we see the light at the end of this tunnel, and I can't wait for things to resume normally.
100%. Of course, you just finished doing pre-season testing for the new Formula E season. But let's take it right back to the beginning. We mentioned earlier you started racing when you were 4 years old. So what happened to get you into that? What drove you to become a racing driver from the very beginning?
Very, very easy. I mean, I grew up, I was born on a karting track. My parents own a karting track, they still do. It's near Paris. And I don't even remember because when you're too young, your memory don't work. You start working at 4 or 5 years old. Everything before it's just, you can see it on the pictures. And from what I can see on the pictures is that I was holding a steering wheel of a go-kart already on my dad's knee. I had my first go-kart. I think I was 5 years old. So I never actually asked myself, what do I want to do with my life later on? It was always clear to me that I wanted to race, I have this feeling since a very young age.
It seems like if you're born basically at a kart track, you don't have much of a choice. You are going to be a racing driver. Now, looking at your, we were researching your racing CV, which is mightily impressive. It was your early career in the junior categories as smooth as it appears, or were there any major road bumps along the way?
I had a few ones. Obviously, when I came into the French Formula 4 championship, went very well. I won the championship halfway in the season, and then I needed to find sponsors because my parents, my dad already sold his Porsche Boxster to pay for a bit of a season and some private testing.
Good old dad.
And, and I could not go in Formula Renault Eurocup. The season by then was between 400 to 500,000 euro, and clearly we didn't have that amount of money to be put into racing. And luckily I got tested by Red Bull. We were 20 drivers in Estoril, and 2 were Daniel Ricciardo and myself. And then the first year of Formula 1 2 liters was, I think, probably one of my most difficult years in sports. I was up against very, very strong guys. Daniel Ricciardo, there was Bottas, there was Andrea Caldarelli. It was a very strong season. And I was not ready. I was not ready for Formula 1 2 liters. And clearly it was a difficult one. And at the end, I got Helmut Marko calling me and says, if you don't make a podium before the end of the season, you're fired. There was 2 races remaining.
Were you not ready because of your mentality or because of your driving ability at that point?
Of everything, mentality. I come from a normal background, and I arrived in the Red Bull Junior team, and I saw myself already in F1. I was big head, not working enough, and thinking that the talent was going to be sufficient. But from the very first races, I got submerged by my teammate. It was difficult to climb back up and to reset. And during a season, it was not possible. But at the end of that year, I was able to make 2 podiums. So Red Bull signed me for another year in the same team, same championship, which went obviously much better. And then I arrived in British Formula 3. Wanted to take me out of France, wanted to take me out of this French cocoon from the French team, everything. And I arrived at Carlin. And I think this year was probably clearly one of my strongest year in motorsport, 2010. British F3. I was in Milton Keynes doing a lot of work at the race simulator. And the car was, I absolutely loved. I won, I think, 13 or 14 races that season. I got promoted to World Series by Renault at the end of that year already for doing the last races. And I found again Daniel Ricciardo as my teammate.
You can't shake him.
And I almost got fired once more. Those 3 races, I think I had 1 win on podiums, and the last race was in the wet. And Daniel Ricciardo wanted to either win or finish second in the championship versus Aleshin. And I was starting, I think, 14th. Daniel was starting second or third. And it was my first time on the wet, with this big car, a lot of horsepower. So it was, a turf for me. I had nothing to win, nothing to lose. But then in the race, I was, feeling very good, and I was coming up. The team asked me to pit. I didn't want. I said no, I feel good. I continue. And I only knew why they wanted me to pit is because they knew that I would exit in front of Daniel if I would have continued. So I exited in front of Daniel, new tires, and Daniel. They asked me to let Daniel by, but already when they asked me, it was half a straight behind. And the time to negotiate with the team and saying, okay, do you want me to do it or not? And I don't understand, I'm much faster. He was being overtaken by Aleshin, and he lost the championship.
Oh, God.
So in my position. But I thought at that stage I was going to get fired.
But crucially, you didn't get fired.
No, I didn't get fired. Yeah.
But when did F1 start to become more and more a reality for you? Obviously, you got that first test in 2010. So was that when you were starting to think, okay, I can push it to actually be a fully fledged Formula One driver?
The first test was in Toro, and then 2011 was with Red Bull. And I think the test went very well. They were happy with the work I was doing in the simulator, and the performance in the car were good. Also, in World Series, Formula 3, I had good results. And I remember I was actually not Helmut telling me that I was going to be racing in F1. I was supposed to make another season in 2012 in World Series by Renault, and I was supposed to drive for Dams with Jean-Paul Driot. And I was in contact with Jean-Paul already, and 3 weeks later, Jean-Paul called me an evening. I said, Jeff, I'm very worried. I don't have any news from Helmut. What's happening? I don't understand. The contract was ready to be signed, and I said nothing. I said, I don't know. And then I hung up. I was like, okay. That means I must be in there if Helmut didn't sign my deal in World Series. And the morning after, 7 a.m., Helmut called me and say, you're in F1.
Oh, God. How did that feel, like realizing that dream and suddenly you're an F1 driver? Can you remember the emotions that you felt? Yeah,
I was extremely, extremely happy, obviously. But there was one thing I did not consider when I came in F1 was that I was not going to be in the top team. And that is my biggest mistake coming in F1 was not realizing this earlier. Going into also, I remember the first race I did, I was in the points. I forgot to activate the DRS in the last red line. I lost 1 point, and second race was in the rain in Malaysia. I finished 8th, so my first points in F1, and I crossed the line. I was like happy, but I mean nothing special, And I came back in the garage, and everybody was so happy, cheering and shouting, and this is when for me the real problem in F1 started, because I was like, it's not for me, and I had on my side then Ricardo that was always happy, always smiling. It doesn't matter if he finished 6th, 8th or last. It was the happy guy, smiley, and I was this guy, that always wanted more, and I could not get more from this car.
Yeah.
And this was my biggest issue, I think, in F1. Not realizing, take your time, be happy with an 8th position, be happy with those results, smile. You're an F1 driver. I wanted more straight away, and obviously, which I never did.
And so, even though it wasn't a front-running car, the first time you got in that car, pulled out of the pits, or the first time you took off from a grid and put your foot down, was it a shock to you how much power was at your disposal? What was the feeling like of being in that car for the first time?
The power was something extremely impressive in the first. Actually, the first out I had in F1 was in Goodwood. And in the uphill, and going down the hill, I had 12 engine, I think, Cosworth from Red Bull or Viten, I don't remember. And I was excited, so I put full throttle. And it was the first time I had carbon brake disc. I didn't know you needed to warm them up, There was this guy in front, I don't know who it was, if it was Lewis or the McLaren reserve driver, but he was in this beautiful MP, I don't know which one, the one of Senna, in front of. He must have seen me coming with the wheel completely locked. So that was the first time I had a taste of the speed of an F1 car. But yeah, then in Abu Dhabi, I was very impressed. But this impression of speed disappeared after one run already. What really was impressive was, the braking power. I remember the second day when I woke up, I had it's like a train drove on my body the whole night. I need to walk that neck.
Three seasons in Formula One. When you look back at that final year and your exit from Formula One, how do you look back at that now?
It obviously, I really felt at the time that it was not fair, because I had the first year I scored more points than Ricardo. The second year I had a lot more points than Kvyat. Red Bull knew that I was overweight because of the car, and Kvyat was 10 kilos lighter. And 10 kilos in Formula One is like 3-4 tenths depending on the track. And I had just a lot more points. And I came back from strong races, and they told me in the summer that would be replaced by Max. And obviously I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. I mean, 3 years into also, there is no opening in Red Bull. Yeah, there is nothing I can say. So fair enough. Thank you for the help you gave me to be in F1, and tough luck. And then during the question, I say, but if there is a place opening in Red Bull, will I go? And Helmut said, no, there is no place opening in Red Bull. I say, imagine there is. Vettel goes. I say, yeah. Then of course, then you will go the next one. And in Japan, 2014, Seb announced that he was going to Ferrari, and I think Red Bull was quite angry with Seb's decision like this to tell the world that he was going to go to Ferrari. Especially, they were sure he would remain at Red Bull, and they wanted to choose a driver very quickly to say, you know what, we have enough drivers, we can replace you. And was expecting a call, I was like, okay, that's my time. And I chose Kvyat. They never gave him. Obviously, as we know, he hasn't delivered at Red Bull the way Red Bull wanted to. Then there was, of course, a free seat then in Toro Rosso, and the whole Toro team, Franz Tost, pushed very hard for me to stay. But then Carlos Sainz arrived, and a bit of a roller coaster, but never mind. I mean, it was a very good end of the season for me. was very happy. I had some strong results, and then there was a lot of Jules also in Japan. So it was a very weird weekend, and after that I thought, okay, maybe F1 is not for me. I might need to think of doing something else. But then you're a young driver. You had the potential to be doing a great job in Formula One. You didn't get the chance, either your fault or not your fault, but the result is the same. I didn't have the chance I wanted to in F1, and for the next 2 years, you're kind of thinking maybe I want to things differently. But the reality, as you're champion, you go back in F1. It's there are a lot of young drivers with huge potential that deserve more your seat than you. You had a chance. It's behind now.
Especially at Red Bull, it's a cutthroat business. But you did move on and you went to Formula E, and you arrived at Formula E when it was still it was a very, very new championship. What was your impression of the series when you first got there? Did you think, what's this electric business all about, or were you immediately into it?
No, I came back from Abu Dhabi and I had just signed my new manager because with Red Bull, they didn't want to have to deal with any manager. They put you a contract, say, sign it, happy, go back to school. So, so I never had a manager, and I discussed a lot with Alain, with Checo, and they all told me Julian Jacobi is the man you should be having, and I had discussion with Julian Jacobi and signed him as my manager, and we sat down and said, okay, what can we do? There was Toyota LM program, LMP1 program, didn't go through, and then there was nothing else. So I was like, I called him, we need to find something because I might go crazy here. And he called me one night. It was I think a Monday night or Tuesday night. I said, what do you think about Formula E? I said, the electric side? I don't know. I honestly had no idea. I didn't watch any. There were races already I watched. I just saw the crash of Nicky Heidfeld. I was like, yeah, why not? I said, there is a seat available for one race in Andretti. So do you want to do it? I say, yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, how much they're paying? And say, oh, they don't pay. I say, okay. I was like, you know what? Okay, let's do it. When is that? You have your ticket. You're leaving tomorrow morning. I say, what? Where? Where is that? Uruguay. Okay, not. So I arrived in Uruguay and completely out of the blue, this guy coming out of F1. Yeah, I didn't know what I was thinking back then. It was like, okay, some fun. Let's see what this is all about. The first free practice, I really struggled with that car to drive. Sliding. I was staying on the steering. The torque, the lack of the noise was hitting me at the beginning, and it was weird. Michael came to see me before the qualifying and say, if you do 10, I sign you for the rest of the season. I was like, okay, that's okay, great. I mean, I went on to do my job in qualifying, and I put the car on pole by 3/10. And then my manager before the qualifying, he said, okay, don't discuss with Michael, just do the job, do what you know best, and let me deal with that. I said, okay, fine. The race goes on, so obviously everybody, and there was Helmut actually at that race, Helmut Marko, and he told me, I didn't know you were fast in qualifying, and I got very angry because he knew I always carried 10 more kilos than my teammate Kvyat in F1, and he knew that, and they were around with people, and I replied to him straight away, like this. So maybe since then he doesn't like me anymore. I don't know if he ever did, but never mind.
You turn up to Formula E, Jev, you stick it on pole position. First of all, I suppose you didn't really expect that. So what were your expectations to begin with of Formula E, and how did you see, electric sustainable racing and that whole world back then?
Well, I had no view on this sustainability and the importance of what we do at Formula E. No vision at all. It all came later on. But in F1, when I was doing the perfect qualifying lap, The car was perfectly set up, and I was very happy. I would end up being 9th, 10th, or 11th on the grid. And I was like, oh, God, I mean, what if I had this car? And it was kind of, sometimes I wish I had the same car as the other guys, to prove that I can beat those guys. And coming in FormulaE, it felt like I was running for the last 3 years with a backpack full of stone, and that out of a sudden I removed that backpack and I started to feel flying. And that's what happened in this qualifying. Everybody had the same car, and it was all about the driver. Especially in the beginning, it was really, the driver could make the difference. And then the race went on. I was second. Jamie was gonna have a penalty because I tried to pass him many times, and he cut the chicane like 3 times in a row to protect his position. So I was running second, eventually winning the race. And in the last lap, I had a suspension failure.
Yeah.
My bad luck, started to follow me. Then I had many other races where I was on pole, and then the car, when the second car would not switch on, and it was like, okay, the speed is there, but the luck is still not there.
Yeah.
And then after that race, my manager negotiated a nice deal with Andretti.
And the rest, as they say, is history. You're now a double Formula E champion, world champion, and countless poles and wins. So it's worked out pretty well for you. But along the way, of course, you've had a few tasty bits of team radio, which we're now going to do a short little quiz with you, Jev, if you wouldn't mind. Tim, if you'd like to do the introductory music, please.
Here we go. I know this is going to be the highlight of your career. Forget your 2 World Championship Formula E. This is it. So prepare yourself. Here we go. Harry, over to you.
So, Jev, it's pretty simple. We've got 4 bits of team radio to play you. Going to play you one at a time, and it's basically a say what you hear. Just give us a bit of context about what you're talking about, and then there's a bonus question at the end. There's a big, long leaderboard. At the moment, there are 14 points up for grabs, and it is Alexander Sims who currently leads the way. So really, that's a big rival you've got to beat there as well. We've also got Dilbag Gill on there. We've got a couple of Red Bull guys as well, who I'm sure you'll take absolute pleasure in beating. So, Jev, are you ready for your first bit of team radio? Okay. Let's do it.
Here we go. Here it comes. Number 1.
Body that win, guys. Could have had it without this bloody full course yellow. Thank you so much. Looking at where we were yesterday, you guys did a fantastic job, and thank you for making the car amazing.
What you get?
So very nice thanks at the end, but what was happening there?
Where was that?
Well, that's the question.
Nice try.
Okay, so that was a race where I finished second, ended up in the full course yellow. Obviously, I was coming back because I had a good car. I was saying I'm happy with the car. He did a good job. Coming back from yesterday, so that means that there was a good event. There was a race yesterday, or maybe not. There was other problems. Paris, I think, finished under full course yellow, but I could not win that one.
He's struggling, isn't he?
I will give you one clue. It was in the 2019 season.
So that was last year?
Yes. How's it work? Not 2019-20, but
season 5.
2018-19.
Season 5.
Okay, season 5. Do I have my trophies from season 5 so I can remember?
It's like Googling. Jev's version of Googling.
No, let me think. Not Hong Kong, not Marrakesh.
You got to look in Europe, somewhere in Europe.
Gonna have to push you for an answer.
Yeah, I know. It was Berlin. He won the race.
He's got it. Okay, because you've had a bit of help there, I'm going to give you 2 out of 3 points on that one. I'm feeling generous, but
very generous.
Can't give you the full 3, I'm afraid. Okay, let's move on to clip number 2. Have a listen to this.
Here we go.
Oh, Nico is going to... Oh, Nico.
Oh, no way.
Oh, my God. In the pit lane the day before the race.
Say that again.
That was with André Lotterer in the pit lane, making the commentary in Hong Kong.
And what bit were you commentating on, though? You were watching?
then I was commenting the Buemi argument, but yeah, this one was Nickel crash.
Yes, spot on. 3 out of 3. What?
Because I didn't even needed to finish the radio bit that I knew what it was.
You knew it straight away. You've redeemed yourself. You've redeemed yourself. Okay, here we have your penultimate bit of radio. Have a listen to this.
Here we go.
C'était une blague, cette voiture. C'est pas la même. C'est un scandale.
He's got it already. Scandal. I think the word scandalous is not used enough by racing drivers. But Jev, tell us what you think's going on there.
That was my second car, season 4 in Berlin at that race, and there was a big problem with it, and I just went backward. Basically, it was not regenerating. It was causing a lot of oversteer. And I ended up saying that my car, and I talked in French, I said that my car felt like driving a mini kart. That it was a scandal. And because now you put, the GIF on Instagram, you put the scandal.
Brilliant. You've got it there. 3 out of 3 once again. Okay, here is your final bit of team radio. It's looking good to get you up the standings. So let's see if we can get another 3 points on the board. Have a listen to this.
Here we are.
Okay, well done, Jeff. Just your next. Come on, get your head down. Really good laps now.
That is a really hard one. It's really hard to hear on that. Do you want to hear it one more time?
Yeah, please.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, well done, Jeff. Just your next. Come on, get your head down. Really good laps now.
That's a hard one. That is hard.
Really hard one.
Oh, wow.
What series do you think you're in there? What championship?
But it's definitely not Formula E. It is not Formula 1 because that sounded like it is Formula 1.
Harry, stop.
Very well guessed.
It is Formula 1.
Formula 1.
What am I saying? Am I screaming? Am I?
You're having an issue. Oh, it's a really tough one without giving it away. What clue can I give you? So we're in F1, and the clue I'm going to give you is that it was in your in 2013 in the 2013 season. So good luck with that.
It's a long time back.
Have a stab in the dark. Just give me a racetrack.
2013, so it was not 2014. Mate, I don't know.
No, nothing. Oh, so Jev, that one you are apparently, according to the description I read, you're suffering a puncture in your Toro Rosso at Spa in 2013. Does that ring any bells? No. There we go. Well, we'll write that last one off. Okay, you can redeem yourself with this bonus question. Final one at you. How many points did you score in your first Formula E season with Andretti? Now, we're allowing plus or minus 5. So if you can get 5 either side, you get the point. But how many points did you end the season with?
55.
Oh.
I'm afraid not. It was 70. So pretty decent.
That's not a good end.
Not a good end, but hang on. Let me do the maths. 1, 2, 3.
Going to be quite far down the leaderboard.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind this leaderboard of about 40 people. Jev, you've scored 8 points, which puts you, I'm afraid, just above Johnny Herbert in 31st position. So congratulations with that.
I cannot take any pride from it because if you are putting the radio of Johnny Herbert, it was like 40 years ago. Yeah. I don't know how many years. So it must have happened.
Yeah, you'll be amazed though. Actually, his memory was pretty poor. But Jev, thank you for MotorMouth. Now, look, we've just got a few more quick fire questions to throw at you before we let you get on with the rest of your day. Tell us a bit more, firstly, though, about your involvement with Veloce. Of course, we had Rupert and Daniel from Veloce on. It's brilliant what they're trying to do, covering all angles, really. So tell us a bit about what your role is there and where you see that heading.
My role at Veloce, I remember we were sitting all here actually on this couch with Dan, with Rupert, with the guys, and And I just came back that day from a meeting with Alejandro Agag, where he was explaining me about ExtremeE, and I told them I think we should do ExtremeE together at Veloce, and I think we all sat down, we all agreed. I said, okay, let's do this, and then they were able to work some magic, find the right people to run this team, and yeah, it's going very well. We're testing now some drivers. Going to announce quite soon. We announced Jamie Chadwick, obviously. She's in the Veloce family for a very long time. And yeah, I have a very good, strong relationship with Rupert. He was my teammate in British F3, and it's funny. I always thought that one day I would do business with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. We got good value out of him and Daniel when they came on the show. Now, when you were growing up, did you have an idol or a hero or someone you particularly looked up to in the sport?
I'll tell you a quick story about Rupert before I answer your question. We were in Spa in a race of British F3, and you remember those bracelet power band? You know, the thing and he contacted those guys and he made a deal with them, and we see them a lot for free, and that was kind of his sponsor. So I saw power band on the car. I was like, oh, they give him money. I said, no, they give me bracelet, but now I sell them. And every single mechanic of the team, even Trevor Carlin, my dad, even everybody bought a bracelet to him, and it was not the price. It was at the real price. I was thinking by then, I said, mate, you should not be a racing driver. You should be a businessman. You know?
Yeah.
Little hustler.
Yeah.
We're going to bring that one up for sure. So yeah, growing up, was there someone you looked up to, and is there still someone you look up to and respect, in whether it be racing or otherwise?
In Formula One, not so much, because honestly, when I was doing karting, I was not even watching Formula One races. It was not something. My dad always told me that I could never make it. He didn't want me to dream. He didn't want me to have a dream that would crash, therefore be disappointed for the rest of my life. So he always made sure to not to make me think too much about F1. So I had people that inspired me, but they were in karting and not in F1.
Yeah. Okay. And a little birdie told me that you're a talented man outside of racing. You play the piano, is this right? Is this one of your hidden talents? Do you have any other hidden talents we don't know about?
No, I used to play piano. I'm not sure I play well, but I play well anymore, you know. Hidden talents, I don't know.
How's your cooking?
That's definitely not hidden.
Just not there. Non-existent.
What about
on the flip side? What are you absolutely crap at? Like you're obviously a very good racing driver. You're a businessman. What are you useless at?
Many things. I mean, now that I think about many things. Useless at cooking. I mean, honestly, I bought a nice kitchen in my home. I should not even have a kitchen, you know.
Who needs a kitchen?
As long as I have my place for my coffee machine.
Very important.
Yeah, and that's all I need on the fridge, of course, for the drinks.
Yeah,
we don't need a kitchen. Now, listen, Jev, you said yourself, and you've said it in other interviews, that you went through a period where you were a bit of an angry man. You weren't that happy with things, particularly in Formula One. If you could start again, what would you say to your 15, 16-year-old self? Would you have done anything differently, or would you have taken the same path?
I would not talk to him like you. I think, this is the beauty of life also, is to make mistakes, is to do the wrong choice sometimes, to find yourself in the situation where you're in today. And maybe if I would have done things different, I would not be in a happy position where I am today. So, I'm thankful for all the things that happened, especially the bad ones, because that's what defined me. The difficulties that I had, and today I'm extremely happy in the position I'm in. There is nothing I would like to change. Obviously, getting more wins, if there is something I'd like to change. But no, I would probably aim to enjoy a bit more life and not to take things too seriously sometimes.
Now, listen, we've got a final three, which we ask all of our guests, and they throw up a different array of answers every time, and you can answer them in any way you like. Harry, do you want to take the first one?
What has got you excited at the moment?
My girlfriend.
I don't know whether to take. I don't know how to take that one. Is it he's genuinely very pleased to have a girlfriend, or she's actually getting him excited right now?
We're going to have to put the explicit thing on the podcast now. Thank you for that.
No, I'm going to change what gets me excited at the moment. Obviously, the racing season coming. It's always, as a racing driver, it's very long. It's a long wait. So, yeah, I'm excited about starting again. And then I have this other project that I'm working on. I'm very excited about to launch it. And that should come soon.
Okay, what is said project? Can you tell us any more?
In a few words, yeah, it's a non-alcoholic spirit, CBD spirit, actually.
Oh,
very good.
Yep, it's technically a drink that you can feel some functional effects without the morning after waking up feeling bad.
Sounds amazing. Sign me up. If not doing what you are doing now, what would you have done?
I don't know.
there was never a backup plan.
No.
Fair enough. I think that's a common answer. I think because I think if you're going to be a racing driver, you've got to have that straight focus, haven't you, to achieve that.
The moment you have a backup plan, this is when you don't focus anymore on your A plan.
Yeah.
So,
No, very well said. And final question for you, Jev. What are you scared of?
I was going to say the girlfriend again.
I'm kidding.
And he's not.
What I'm the most afraid of, failure.
Fair enough. Well, Jean-Eric Vergne, I think your career on paper looks, you've achieved so much, but also I think the way you speak about the mistakes you've made, the things you look back, and how your career and how your life has progressed is really quite motivational and inspiring. So it's been an absolute pleasure to hear from you and your journey so far. And we wish you the best of luck, of course, in the upcoming Formula E season, as well as any other ventures coming up. And we know you do race in the World Endurance as well. So Jean-Eric Vergne, thank you so much for coming onto the MotorMouth podcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeff.